Hey, Daily Dosers. My name's Austin Payne. I'm one of the high school pastors on the Vista campus, and I spent the majority of my growing up years in a place called Quito, Ecuador, down in South America. Summer of 1999, my family moved down there, and I remember looking forward to 4th of July every year. My family would all pack in our 1980s tan Suburban, and we would drive over to the ambassador's house. And as we went through the gates, there was this sense that we were entering into another country. It felt like home. And the barbecues were going, and there were hot dogs and hamburgers, and there were coolers full of Dr. Pepper and Mountain Dew and these sodas that we couldn't get in the grocery stores or anywhere else in Ecuador. And yet for a day of this barbecue on 4th of July, it felt like we were home. It was this little pocket of Quito that was the ambassador's house that as you entered the gates, the sounds, the sights, the way that people talked, it was English. There was this community that existed inside of Ecuador that for a day we got to feel like we were at home. And I remember just that leaving such an impression in my mind as I read Paul's words in 2 Corinthians, where he calls us to be ambassadors for God. That every single one of us, because of the resurrection, we can now live as ambassadors, that everywhere we go, whether we're in the grocery store or we're at work and we're inside our own families, we're gathering, that we get to represent God, that he's making his appeal through us because of Jesus' death and his resurrection, this new life that we have. We no longer see things the way that we used to, but because of this new life, we represent him. 2 Corinthians chapter 5, verse 16 says this, "So from now on, we regard no one from a worldly point of view. We've changed our perspective. Though we once regarded Christ in this way, we do so no longer. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, the new creation has come. The old has gone, the new is here. All this is from God, who reconciled us to himself through Christ and now has given us the ministry of reconciliation. That God was reconciling the world to himself in Christ, not counting people's sins against them. He has committed to us the message of reconciliation. We are therefore Christ's ambassadors, as though God were making his appeal through us." And over again, this word reconciliation is used, and it's to restore friendly relations, right? Like just like the ambassador of the United States was down in Ecuador, restoring these friendly relations between the U.S. and Ecuador, working politically with the government. It's now our job that God has given us in the same way that the Word became flesh, like John chapter 1 says, and Jesus enters into our time and space and zips up flesh and bone to restore friendly relations between humans and God through his death, through his resurrection. He now looks at us and says, this is your job. You have the ministry of reconciliation to be my ambassadors, to represent me. And I love this challenge that as I go throughout my day, as I go throughout my week, am I aware of my ambassadorship? That people are looking to me and that God is making his appeal through me, that the way that I talk, the way that I interact with, the way even just at restaurants or with people on the freeway, wherever I am, there should be this weight of responsibility, and not a weight in the sense that, I have to feel this guilty pressure at all times, but almost this privilege and this honor and this freedom to go, man, God is choosing to use me. He doesn't need me, and yet I get to be his ambassador through my interactions. What a pleasure to represent him. What a gift to represent him. What an honor. And may that be something that we feel this week, that as we go throughout our days, as we go throughout our week, God is making his appeal through us. Because of the resurrection, I get to be God's ambassador.